What's up, guys? Tom here for FieldandTomPlus.com, and welcome to episode number 23 of the Phil and Tom podcast. I'm here with Phil.
Hi everybody, how you going?
I'm here with Janine.
Hello.
And we're just sitting here on a Thursday afternoon at 4 o'clock. Me and Janine have just finished filming the Friday video challenge.
You need to watch this because this is so unfair. Not preempting, what do they call it? I'm not spoiling it, but someone's a dirty, stinking cheater.
Did I say before the challenge what the sudden
I don't think that was on camera, and I went, no.
Well, there was.
Well, I'm having a sookie lala about it.
Well, typical, because as soon as you start losing, you start sooking, don't you? Typical woman of this family. Anyway, Dad, how's it going? How you feeling?
Slur.
It's been a very good...
backhanded slur.
It was. It's been a very good week for us. We've had some good things happen, some progression, some exciting things that are going to move us forward.
Yeah, well, I guess that's never going to change for anybody, no matter where they start.
But this week, I think, for me anyway, especially, but giving the news that we got today about the Facebook thing, I feel like that's really good news. I feel like that's going to be... I said to Mum, she was talking to me about the Facebook coaching that we're going to get, that it was it sounded intense because she was explaining it to me. It sounded really intense. There's only 20 people in there. They're going to give you some time. They're going to check over your stuff. I haven't seen that anywhere else.
Yeah, I think it's fairly... my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, it's a coaching. You know, we invest in coaching. That's the first thing for the people that are listening. We learned to do that. So we've invested in some coaching this week. And we're always on the lookout for that next level coach. And this is really a traffic coach. And so this is somebody who's going to, you get some homework and there's critiquing, and there's about 8 sessions with a couple of really high profile experts that have been recommended by very high profile people in the industry. And so that is exciting because it's weird, you know, it's the law of attraction. You might believe in that, you might not believe in that, and sometimes you just got to be a bit patient. And you know, we're really sort of looking for something like this, and a couple of things hit us this week, and so this is us being very specific about our traffic because of the business models that we've got in place, basically.
Yeah, I feel like we've had big leaps and bounds. I feel like we've had big leaps and bounds over the last couple of weeks just with our focus. But the idea that we're going to have now a Facebook coach, so it's not Mum just getting on there with her knowledge from the courses that she's done and hacking and slashing. I've done that before, and as optimistic as we are, like straight away in my head, when we say that, I think, okay, great, Mum's going to kill it straight away. First week, in my head, I'm thinking she's going to get it. It's all over.
Oh yeah, what planet are you living on?
But then when we get this news that we've got some serious, intense coaching, I'm like, okay, well now my brain starts to work properly and say, okay, hang on. If we did it the other way without the coaching, it's going to take some time.
Sure.
We're going to take some punches, and we probably will this way as well. But this time we've got somebody guiding us, putting the blinders on. Fix this, get rid of that.
It speeds the process up. It's a fast track. And from a coaching point of view, if you think back to our first coaching that we paid for, this is why this is really good coaching, I think, is that we invested at that time about $5,000 into 20 sessions. Yeah. And if you work that out, 20 times 200, it's about $4,000. So it's probably a little over $200 a shot for an hour of coaching once a month. I think it was once a month, pretty well. And that month used to fly along. And even though we probably weren't happy, 100% with that because there were certain things going on, it was certainly the catalyst that got us moving. And then we did some coaching with another, fairly high-profile person who'd been in the industry quite a long time, and we were paying, I'm thinking $100, and then he upped the price to $200. It could have been, or it was $150. And we had several sessions with that person, and that was sort of a bit more about, we got a lot of good stuff if we think back to it on YouTube. Yeah. And now this one here we've invested in, it's really about, there's 8 sessions. So at 8 sessions, what do you think you'd pay for that, Tom?
I'm going to say $1,800.
Yeah, about. I mean, that's about. Well, it's, if you just go 8 by 200 or 8 by 250, there's about the figure. Yeah. So it seems really attractive, and it's very specific towards traffic.
Yeah, and what I like is these guys they're experts on Facebook.
Yeah.
They're not claiming to be experts on anything else.
No.
They are experts on Facebook. They're a Facebook ad agency, aren't they?
Well, that's right. And have a think about, you know, we were going to get some coaching recently, actually, and it was from a gentleman, and he was going to charge us $2,000. And so I'm really glad we sort of paused, even though I probably jumped in, and I got some really high-profile coaching in December. But that's specific to branding and building your own products, and that really,
which of course, ties in with the advertising.
Yeah, and that's a whole different set of expertise. And I think for people that are sitting there listening, man, it seems like, you know, a lot of work. I guess, you know, it is. But the thing you've got to ask yourself is compared to what? And if you compare it to most people in the world, this is how I've always thought about it. I thought when you compare, you know, putting in specialist type effort into something, the first thing is why you're putting in that effort. What's the prize that you're chasing? Now we don't hold back by saying that we're chasing high returns. You know, we think that we're sitting here because, you know, we like the idea of making $250,000 a year, $500,000 a year, $1 million a year. This is what the internet can carry. So if you're sitting there and that figure blows you out of the water, that's all right. Don't worry about those figures. Just put them aside. But put a figure in for you. It might be $25,000 a year. Might be $50,000 a year, might be $100,000 a year. There's no right or wrong answer with this. But the thing is that I say, we're coming back to this effort, it's compared to what? And most people will put a lot of effort into their jobs, to their businesses. And history says, and this is not my figures, this is what history says. History says, well done, good luck, but it doesn't work out financially. So that's why this interests us a lot. And it's worth learning, you know, those special skills.
And it puts it in perspective too. When you start getting like a technical problem, and you start complaining and sulking, you say, "What's the alternative?" Now, I haven't had much experience, but I have had a little bit of experience in a job. And what I do know is I don't like it. I know that. And when I left, not quite right, working at the supermarket. That's one of the supermarkets here. Is I remember thinking, and Mum can back me up on this. I kept saying, "This is great," because now I can just, whenever I start getting angry, I can just say, well, at least I'm not quite right, because I didn't like it. So now I was just saying before, I got all this work to do that I've got to do, edit all these videos, what would I rather be doing? It not quite right, or would I rather be sitting here editing a video? That's an easy question. Yeah,
and I guess the other thing is that, you know, when you're involved in a job, it doesn't matter how good you get, you know, and sometimes, you know, look, I know that the best I did, you know, I was paid 6 figures for some of the skills that I had in many years, but the question is, how much did I own? You know, I owned nothing. All I really owned was I had a business that contracted, but none of it was actually mine. So that's one of the challenges with jobs, is that, you know, you can work your backside off year after year infinitum, but you never actually own anything. And the problem with the self-employed, you know, they can say, well, you know, I'm self-employed, I'm a sole proprietor. But the problem there can be, as our friend Robert Kiyosaki explains, is that
work your ass off.
Well, you're owned by your clients, your customers, and they basically, you know, control you to the degree that there's either enough, not enough, too much, you know, and you're continually caught between this spectrum. You know, you have to deal with, man, so many issues because you are that person.
And it's harder today for the self-employed person, especially building a clientele and keeping a clientele, because the nature of what a customer thinks they deserve has changed so much, and that they expect everything. A customer expects everything now, especially if you're actually in some sort of shop front business that actually might be competing against an internet type business, where, especially if it's a product based business, you like a hard product. What do they call it? Like a product, you know.
Physical product.
A physical product. If you can't give that proper customer service to someone, and like a client knows now, then they can just come home, they Google, I want, you know, blah blah blah. You know, so it's doubly hard now to have a shop front where you to get a customer in and keep that customer there.
Well,
I take my hat off to anybody that opens their doors to a self-employed business. Take my hats, and you know, for the people that don't do that and they're not employed by a small business owner, while they're sitting at their job bitching and complaining. Just think about those small business owners who are out there. They're just toiling. They're not working. You know, you might think you're working hard, working 50 hours a week, and the boss is doing this. The small business owners, they're working 100 hours a week.
They are, yeah.
And they never shut off. They come home and they got families, and you've got to take your hat off to them. And they're the ones, statistically, they're the ones that keep our economy going. So if you don't give your small business guy a go, we're going down the toilet, people.
Okay, we're up to 10 minutes now, Mum.
That was just my opinion anyway. Did I qualify that?
Oh, by the way, I was always steering away from opinions in videos and stuff like that.
Right.
Maria Andros, what does she say? Get your opinion in there. Get it in there.
Right.
And interestingly enough, I don't know why I was shying away from opinions, but on Yummy Cereal, which is my gaming channel, we probably average about 30 to 40 views. We've only got about 600 subscribers. I did a video on a particular game. It's not out yet. It was like a test of the game, just part of it, and I gave my opinion on that game. It's up to 690 views.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Really?
Is that
like
because
30
people
comments.
because people
right?
just want to listen?
Well, Maria Andros said, don't be afraid to be controversial. And my opinion of the game is quite positive, which in the space is very controversial because there's a lot of people sooking about the game. And I'm actually calling them out saying, hey, you guys are a bunch of bitches. And it gets 690 views and it's still going up, which is interesting.
Well, I guess that's we're talking about the evolution of that particular brand, Yummy Cereal. And you mentioned that person, Maria Andros. She's an expert, for the people who are listening, she's an expert in video marketing, but she's also an expert in branding and messaging and helping people create their
But that
avatars.
makes sense. What she says makes sense. Like there's nothing wrong with stating your opinion. It doesn't mean you're right or wrong. But if someone was wanting to go into the internet business, I'm sure they would prefer to know what you stand for and what your thinking is,
it is true.
versus they're a bit wishy-washy. I don't really know what they sort of think.
That's true.
So it stands to reason that they would prefer to get involved with someone. Doesn't mean they're necessarily going to agree with you, I suppose, but that they actually can see where you're coming from.
Yeah.
Well, that's what that Simon Sinek, he wrote that book called, it's about why, and Michael Force was referring to it, recently. He's a 7-figure online earner, and it was all about, letting people know what you believe in. Do you remember I used to bang on about, let people know what you believe in, what you stand for. Yeah. And so, if you don't know what we stand for, we stand for free enterprise, basically. We stand for personal self-development and personal...
We stand for sex.
Sex, okay. We do. We stand for sex.
I'm 23. That's why I said that.
He's an old man. He agrees. What are you talking about? I don't think that changes.
Personal growth. We stand for high income. Yeah. We stand for, chasing dreams, if you want to look at it that way, having a concept of your world and believing that you can actually have that. So I think they're good things to believe in. So if you're listening to this and you're sort of wondering, where would you sort of start? Where would you start the journey? I reckon, we started in not a bad place, although we didn't really understand that well, and that was affiliate marketing. And we still do that, it's a part of our business. It's not our whole business, but it's a part of our business. And so affiliate marketing, can basically save you a lot of time because there's a lot of the work's being done, for you. And your challenge generally is to sort of try to get your head around the picture, basically, work out why you'd want to do it, what you want to get out of the game, and learn a traffic strategy. And it's been, I think we've said before, to focus on one, traffic strategy.
So what would you say if people were sitting here thinking, see, sometimes people...
Where does the sex come into it?
It doesn't. Okay?
Oh no, the sex comes from, what I believe sex comes, it's that idea of having your own dating website. Having that website that's all about, what are the young blokes here? They got the fancy lines to pick up the chicks. What's that called? Is that to do with dating as well? That they're very...
Well, you've come to the right guy, Dad. Ladies all over me.
Please.
They're big industries, dating, and the pickup lines, whatever that is. I'm sure there's a term for that.
Anyway, we're up to 15 minutes, so let's wrap it up. It's
Okay.
been fun. Episode number 23, I believe, of the Feel on Time podcast. We do it every Friday. If you have any comments, put it in the comment section below.
It is actually, we do it on a Thursday.
Whatever. It comes out every Friday, Mum. If you
That's
have any
right.
comments, put it in the comment section below, and we'll see you next week.
Have a great day. Have a great week.
See ya.